Hello, you guys. We're running a little bit late today. I am Tricia Turner. I was like, what's Paul doing? This is Rise and Thrive. We're here to bring you positivity about the real estate world and everything to help you grow your business and your personal life based on the 4 principles of faith, family, finances, and fitness. And I've got Paul and Amy with me here today. Hello, you guys.
Hello. Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
Did you see, and I'm not one that usually posts this stuff, but Amy, have you seen the interest rates today?
I did not check the interest rates. They go down today?
Yeah. Again, so for you guys in the real estate world, y'all need to have this app on your phone. It's Mortgage News Daily. And and this is the one all the lenders that know what they're doing follow. Barry Habib is a big person to follow, and this is definitely something that he's plugged into. You can go in there and set yourself up to get alerts of every time rates go up or down, and it happens sporadically throughout the day. It isn't just the rates are posted in the mornings and that's it for the day. They change during the day. So I got a notification about an hour ago. I actually threw it up on my story because I was like, that's insane. 30-year fixed, 5.99.
I see it. I got the notification. I was in a closing.
Insane. So everything on here except for jumbo is under 6%. ARM, 7-year ARM, 5.4, VA 5.6, FHA 5.6, 5.9 for a fixed. And I said this morning on our Rise and Thrive community, I was like, the buyer's agent, or all real estate agents, not even buyer's agents, all real estate agents should be out there discussing this right now, because I don't know if people get paralyzed by the world drama, and I think they do. They get fixated on watching the news and the things that we can't control, when this is like a big time opportunity for home buyers. Like, Amy, you work a lot with buyers. This is huge for them.
It is huge for them. Yes, because it can dramatically affect their monthly payment, which affects their monthly budget. And it actually brings just a slew of buyers into the market.
It does. And you guys, we were in Austin last week for Power Agent Playbook. And while we were there, D.R. Horton announced, they were the lunch sponsor for that meeting. They announced a thing that they rolled out, which is a buy down. And their buy down that they rolled out is a 3.99 fixed rate. But your first year is 1.99. Your second year, it's 2.99. And then it goes to 3.99. And I'm listening to this and I'm like, for one, being in real estate for a long time, you normally don't see new construction offering massive incentives like that in February. They're normally cutting back their incentives. And they had already started offering that here in the Houston market like 3 weeks ago, because one of our agents is dealing with a buyer that actually qualified for that. So I said it in our community this morning. I was like, if you think about that, like, why would builders be offering that kind of incentive in the middle of third week of February, when we should be like in a massively busy selling season? What's your thoughts, Amy?
I think that they probably are overloaded with inventory due to the fact of the past, 3 years of struggle. I think that they're still catching up. And so they're like, let's offload some inventory. Let's make some deals. They bought packages from lenders, and now they're just ready to start getting some momentum. Like, they've got to move some inventory.
They do. And and you're big on this, Amy. I told the agents in the community this morning, I was like, you guys have got to get out there and educate these buyers, because number one, there's very few opportunities to get a 1.99 interest rate. So whether you love that builder or not, especially first-time home buyers, this is an insane opportunity to go be able to afford a brand new construction home. So you don't have to worry about any repairs or anything for several years while our market recorrects itself, which could take 2 or 3 years. And in that time, you will be building equity in the home because you're paying very little interest, which is unheard of. And in 3 years, you could use it as a stepping stone. And what could they maybe possibly pull equity out, maybe get 2 houses, Amy?
Absolutely. I mean, that's the name of the game, is to buy low and then leverage when you get that equity position. So I always encourage people, if you're going to look at a new build, look into communities where they're just getting started. So we have a community up here in the north called Creston. And Creston it's a Johnson development community, and they're just doing so many amazing things. They're bringing families together. They're having farmers markets, parks, but this is a great opportunity to get into a neighborhood like that at a low interest rate, because all the new build, they're offering so many incentives, right? And then there's another neighborhood up here in the north called Two Step Farms, and their big thing is we're bringing goats, and they're really bringing like the Texas vibe, and they're pulling out all the stops. But I would say if you're in the market and you're a first-time home buyer, definitely look at new builds, because it's such a great opportunity.
It is. And Paul, with our agents, like a lot of our agents are working with buyers. When you're listening to our agents, Paul, and they're talking about new construction, and we go over this in our sales meeting every week, talking about new construction, trying to get them plugged in to go to new construction. The overwhelming thing is always everyone, not everyone, but most buyers. And I said this morning too. I was like, in the world that we live in the real estate world, we are in a different class. Like we're not, we have the control of our income, but there's no ceiling on it. Like we can go sell products, we can go build things, and we have more income, and we can create things. And we're like, oh, we have income from this now. We have a stream of income here. But for the most part, most home buyers do not have that, especially if they're buying in that certain price point. This is their income. It will never be any more, not much more than it is. It'll just go up with gradual increases, but they don't have the ability to do the things that we do in real estate. And so when you're trying to educate buyers on the market and what's to be expected, I tell people all the time, like, you have to pay attention to who you're paying attention to, because there's so much wrong information out there being given to home buyers, to agents, and everything. And when you look at educating your home buyers, like, this is a great opportunity to maybe not buy your forever home, because the pickings are slim right now. We're still in an inventory deficit, even though, like Amy just said, they probably are sitting on inventory, which is why they're giving out these massive incentives. It's not across the board. Like maybe that community has a ton of inventory, maybe that area has a ton of inventory, but then this one over here has none. And so I think the bigger than anything, and Paul, I'm going to lean on you here, that even though we know artificial intelligence is so in tune with, or supposed to be so in tune with the market and what's going on, and you should be able to a lot of agents are just going to their chat GPT or whatever they're using for artificial intelligence, and trying to streamline that info that they're getting so they can regurgitate it onto social media and sound like an expert. Paul, with what I just said, with all of these so much differentiating factors in the market, wouldn't you think it's almost impossible for an artificial intelligence to be accurate? With, if I was to go in there and be like, I need a summary of the Houston market and the surrounding areas for the last 3 years, don't you think it would almost be impossible to give an accurate summary?
I would say yes and no. So in life, remember, things are always, there's always a probability. So it's all, if you wanted to be a real estate agent that can go to artificial intelligence and ask it a very specific question like that, you would be the real estate agent that's utilizing artificial intelligence on a daily basis. So whenever you're thinking about the best way to analyze the information that AI will give you is understanding that AI has access to the internet. And the information that it gets from the internet is the information that's put out by reputable sources or anybody that's putting information out there. So if Joe Schmo was out there just creating reports with false data saying that it's a buyer's market, seller's market, or whatever, and they put that on the website, then AI can go grab that information and then give it back to you, a real estate agent that doesn't really know what you're doing, and you believe for it to be true. Now, there are ways that you can have, and from the trainings that I've told everybody, is you can control what websites or where your artificial intelligence gets its information. You can absolutely do that. You say, I only get my information from the MBS Highway. I only get my information from hard.com. I only get my information from these places. Now, that can work, and that can add a layer of protection on making sure that you're utilizing accurate information. But where you run into a problem is, even if the information that your ChatGPT is going to feed you is from trusted websites, whenever the market shifts, this is where you guys show your relevance as your experience. When the market shifts, the market can shift in an instant, right? It can absolutely shift on an instant. Now, whenever that information of market shifts is available to the public, it's usually not for 2 to 3 months at the soonest. That's when all of your analysts and everybody stockpile all their information. They gather as much as they can that over what has happened in the market over the past 3, 4, 5, 6 months, and then they present that information to the public in a report or something on the internet. That's the information that your AI is grabbing. So if the market shifted last week and you went to ChatGPT and you said, help me write value on this home of where the market is, what ChatGPT is going to do is going to reference the state of the market at that time. It's going to reference what's sold, what's pending, it's going to reference whatever you tell it to. But if it doesn't necessarily, if it can't see the whole picture of what's happening to the community as a whole, it can't give you accurate information. But if you are using ChatGPT as a real estate agent that's really advancing yourself, if you're using ChatGPT on a high level to where you're using it as your sparring partner and you're communicating what shifts you're seeing in the market currently, every time you're working on a listing or something, you're working with a new buyer or whatever you're doing, you're constantly updating your ChatGPT on what you're seeing in the market, then you're feeding your ChatGPT live data. And if you were doing that and you went to your ChatGPT or Gemini or Grok or whatever you're using, whatever platform, if you went to it and asked it that question, you would get a more proficient answer than just somebody that jumps into ChatGPT every now and then and says, which product belt should I buy today?
That was like perfect timing. This is live. See, it's never edited. It's like, oh, that's interesting. Okay. You just said that, and while you were saying that, I was thinking, so someone that's obsessed with data, such as myself, should probably be using their ChatGPT or whatever they're using to educate them, to be feeding them, like you said, hey, this is what's going on in the market right now. This is what we're seeing. This is what is happening, like with interest rates and so forth, correct?
Yes, absolutely. And the way that you can do that, like to where it's not feeling like you're having to create a report in your AI, you can just talk to it. You can go on voice mode and you can tell it exactly what you're seeing. Like you can download the transcript of your market updates and upload it in there.
It's crazy because like sometimes I think things get old, like that's old news, like artificial intelligence taking your job. It's like, that's old news. It's not a hot topic, I don't think, anymore. But I just saw someone last night on Facebook posted, what is this about artificial intelligence and real estate agents, them losing their jobs? What is your thoughts about that? And I'm like, well, number one, I know you're just doing this to try to get a bunch of comments, but number two, it's so old. Like, do something that's a hot topic or it's new. I was like, I read it and I was like, I don't even want to get in on this because that's so old. And then I thought about it again today because I literally have spent the last 2.5 hours running values on people's homes, 10 of them, all because a lot of the automations are off right now. And people, if we're doing our job right in the real estate world, we have people in our contact, in our CRM, because that's what we use, that we have on automations, and they're set up to run home value reports, which are automated, and like a Zestimate, similar to that. Well, that's the using of artificial intelligence, correct, Paul?
It is.
So, Amy, this, correct me if I'm wrong, this has been around like as long as you've been in real estate, right?
Yes.
So this is nothing new. But what's funny is every one of the values, except for one that I ran this morning, were inaccurate. And in fact, one lady, she commented on hers and she said, I think the value is too high. And it had given her a value of $320,000. And I was like, interesting. And I actually know the neighborhood well. So I went and I looked and I ran the numbers. She's correct. Her value is 250,000 and probably at best 250,000. And so I reached out to her, of course, and it was like, you're absolutely correct. Like that was a definitely a wrong value. I think, and by saying all of that and saying that post last night about artificial intelligence taking our jobs, I think if anything, artificial intelligence is strengthening our jobs. What do you
think? It is. It really is. It really is.
Amy, what's your thought?
People have used that clickbait for too long now. Like if y'all really are paying attention to the information that people are getting and the misinformation that people are putting out, the real estate agent, the proficient real estate agent, the one that studies data, that studies their market, that does like what is entailed in that job, y'all will shine brighter than the sun. There's no way that your ChatGPT is walking in anybody's house and telling them the value of it. So it's not possible.
Amy, would you ever go and use just an automated home value report to take to your seller or to talk to any seller or investor or anything and tell them that was the value of their home?
I would not just do an automated one. No, I think it has to be so much more in depth than that. In fact, I did a little test on ChatGPT to see, my son had an appraiser on his house just last week, a true live appraisal. And I asked ChatGPT, what's the value of his home? And it's funny because it did give a range, but it gave a very broad range. And the range it gave him, it was like $300,000. So really, what would the value be? You wouldn't even know at that point.
No.
Broad range. And I get people, when I'm talking to them about, their game plan, I'm always like, well, if you're going to buy, do you have a home to sell? And they're like, yes, the Zestimate says. That's the favorite line. Oh, Lord. And I'm like, oh, goodness, what does the Zestimate say this time?
Yes.
The Zestimates are always hundreds of thousands of dollars off.
Yes.
And it can get people, in the mindset that they are, living in a diamond mine when really it's a little rump-shackle shell. That I'm like, really? It says it's worth 500,000? Because the way I look at it when I'm walking through it, I'm lucky if I can list it for 350.
So wouldn't you say that probably now in the world of automations, more automations than ever, it's probably really critical that any buyer or seller or investor gets with a real estate expert?
100%. I think people, but I think, yes, 100%. But I also think that realtors, they need to make themselves relevant. They need to show up on social media. They need to show what they're actively doing so they can say, because sometimes people, it's so funny to me that they'll post themselves like in a bathtub or at lunch and just in a pose. And so people get the perception that, oh, the realtor just likes to pose in bathtubs. Like it's silly like that. And they're like, but I'm going to run this Zestimate because this computer can tell me real numbers. And so we as realtors, we have to make ourselves relevant and we have to show like the gritty part of what we do. Yes. This is the gritty part of what we do. I'm going to show you. You see the gritty part of what we do? She's actually running numbers and working. And people, they just see the pretty stuff.
Yeah.
And so they need to be reminded that we are constantly educating ourselves. We're taking classes every week. We are always surrounding ourselves with people that know more and creating value. And then along with artificial intelligence, creating the best outcome for our clients. So it's not, can it replace me? It's how do I use it to be the best version of me?
Yes. And, I think like we said it last week in Austin, because I am, again, obsessed with data. And I was explaining to everyone the data and the the misconception about foreclosures and that we're nowhere near a foreclosure market. But right now across the nation, we're such in a world of differentiating values. Like there's some areas of the United States that are in a massive seller's market, like extreme seller's market. And then you have our market in Houston that is not in a seller's market, but yet some pockets of the market listings are coming on and they're selling quickly with multiple offers. And some of them buyers are willing to overpay because they can't find anything. If you look at like the common denominator in all of that, it's that we still have a low inventory. We still have a problem. We still have an inventory problem, even though we began saying in the beginning that these builders, new construction that are offering these incentives in February of all things, it's because they're sitting on inventory. But you can't just you can no longer just look at the market as a whole and be able to predict. You cannot. It's so in all the years that I've been doing this, and I study this every single day, I've never seen the market like this, so diverse, so unpredictable. And you, if you're not paying attention to it and looking at the data every day, you're going to misguide someone and you're just going to get lost in it, which I think is why for 2 years in a row, 71% of agents haven't sold a single home, because they're just clueless. When you look at the data, it's great.
I think they need to learn about micro markets. If agents don't know about micro markets, here's a quick lesson. Find a market, focus on it. And if it's not a market, you can simply run an entire zip code, right? And you can look at the sales. And if there's a ton of actives, very little sales, well, that's a different scenario. That means you do have inventory, right? You can look at a market that's in a growth market. So in micro markets, so I live in the Woodlands, right? It's not a growth market. And it can't be because we're already grown. Yeah. We're an adult over here. There's nowhere to build. Mm-hmm. So we're not a growth market. It's a micro market for the niche that it is, right? And which is, it draws people in for dining, shopping, the walkability, the parks. It's its own little like luxury population. But what I've done is I'm focusing on micro markets of growth. So I'm looking, where is the market growing? Where are the developers, the very well-known developers, where are they acquiring land? It's not a hard thing to do, guys. You can look up Caldwell Communities, you can look up Johnson Development, and simply Google that, look where they're growing, and that's where you're going to find inventory. You're going to find more inventory in those micro markets because the developers are doing the research on where people are going, right? And so that's why there's, up here in the north, we have Creston, we have Colton, we have Audubon, we have Two Step Farms. All of this growth is happening in Montgomery County. And we're not the only county that's growing, but I've just been really doing a deep dive in, if we can't grow in the Woodlands, even though it does sell, it's really more of a flipper place. Like you buy old, fix it up, and then sell it. But the growth for us is Magnolia, Montgomery, Willis. It's north, right? So I would suggest to people, they need to find those micro markets.
They do. I think, when you look at like the data of that many agents that didn't sell anything 2 years in a row, if I'm a home buyer or a home seller, I'm probably not going to work with somebody that's basically been out of business for a couple of years now in a market such as this, where everything matters. Every dollar that you spend, every marketing. With what Paul and I do, it's crazy because we are very involved in like the market and training and all of that, because we are running this morning community. So we have to, because we have to educate these agents. And we today, like February 23rd, 2026, we're sitting just slightly over 1 million active listings nationwide as a whole, which if you think of it as the home buyer or seller, it sounds like a lot of listings. Like we have a little over 1 million active listings. But the reality is that we actually need 2 million active listings on the market to have a rhythm, to have a balanced market where there's enough for both. So when you look at predictions and projections of Are we going to sell a lot of homes this year? Like, what is the market going to do? We're still running so far behind. Like, in the grand scheme of things, the amount of listings that would have to hit the market and in right now, like this is the selling season, and flood the market to flip the market is a lot. I think right now the struggle is agents aren't doing the activities that are required to go out there and talk to people and get the conversations going, to get the transactions going. And then I think there is so much uncertainty. There's a lot of agents that don't know about the micro markets, don't know how to run value. They're lost in all of this. So a confused mind just says no. They're just like, I'm not going to participate. I'm just going to sit back for a little bit and go be part of the lunch bunch. And that's fine and dandy. We love the lunch bunch because they help us have a good time and have something to talk
They're
about.
entertaining, Tricia.
I want to tell y'all something about the micro markets and the future. This is where artificial intelligence can take you out of business if you're an agent that's not really focusing on your community. So number one, recently when we went to the economic summit in Dallas, I did a little poll, and I like to go around and I like to ask people certain things. So there was a young lady. This is one of the polls that I took, and I asked her, I said, so if you're in the market looking to buy a home right now, like, and you went to social media for your primary source to find your realtor, I asked her what platform she'd go to. She told me first she'd go to TikTok or she would go to Instagram. Now, I said, that's well, okay. And I asked her, why would she go to TikTok? And she says, because she's looking for something catchy that would get her attention. And I asked her what information would she want to see from a realtor that she'd want to use. And the first thing that she said was, what market do you work in? What area do you work in? So step one, that tells you that you need to be wherever you work. You need to be the real estate agent of that area. And if you don't like the area that you're in, you need to focus on one. And people need to see that you operate in that market. And if you're operating in that market and you're doing what Tricia does every day to see what's sold in the past 7 days, if y'all don't know about it, and y'all should absolutely ask her about it. But you're doing that, you're seeing what homes and what areas your micro markets are actually selling, and you're making that mainstream news. So people are seeing that and they're wanting to work with you because you know about these sweet spots, you know about these sweet pockets, you know about what's going to be the best investment for them. The second thing that she wanted to know, she wished an agent would show, is what does it take to get qualified? Like, as far as purchasing a home, most of them don't know. They wanted information. Number one, she wanted somebody hyper local to the area she was looking for. And number two, she wanted to know about what it took to get into a home. So as a real estate agent, number one, you know that you need to focus primarily on making sure that you're the expert of your community. Number two, you need to have you a lender partner that you talk to frequently, and then you can put out content with your lender partner about what does it take for a buyer to get into a home. And the third thing that she wanted to see was, do you have listings? Have you closed a lot of things? She wants to see your closing, and she wants to see testimonials. So those were the three things that she said. Now, that's a person. That's me asking a physical person, what would they look for if they were looking for a realtor? Understand that same thing that she's looking for is the same thing that artificial intelligence is looking for. So real estate agents, if you're wanting to be relevant in the future, I'm telling you, AI is searching through all the websites. It is looking for all of this information. So if you have not been blogging on your website before, I 100% recommend that you start blogging today. And you do just like Amy talked about. You do just like Tricia talked about. You find the micro markets. You find that information that other people don't know about, and you get hyper focused on the message that you're providing and make sure that it's public. That's how you separate yourself. 100%.
I'll say something on that you just said. It's so true. As you were saying that, I was sitting there thinking, a lot of real estate agents, if you ask them, because I've heard them, what area do you work in? Their answer, most of them are like, oh, I'll go wherever. It doesn't matter. And that's so wrong because I'm sitting here thinking about Amy's market. And if someone was to call me, a buyer, and ask me what are some of the best high schools in Magnolia, I don't have a freaking clue. And if I went to ChatGPT or went to some artificial intelligence or Google or whatever to try to pretend like I was an expert in that to give them information, like shame on me. What I should do is that's not my area of expertise, but Amy is one of my business partners and that is her area. That's how we do our job.
Yes.
That's how what we're supposed to do.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah, we're geographic experts.
Yes.
And that's what AI is going to push you to. Whether we want to realize that or not, that's the topic that nobody's discussing. That is what AI is going to push everybody to.
What's crazy, Amy, is the behind the scenes. Like, and people talk about real estate agents and how, and people, when they see you reaching a certain level of success, a lot of people misinterpret and they think, oh, it's so easy. And all you do is this and this and this, and you get this. It's like, if people could only see behind the scenes and especially now, social media, yes, it helps and it enhances our marketing. It's right now free, but there's a lot of time, energy, and effort that goes into what we do on social media. When we do it, it is time consuming. And when you're dealing with like listings, like we are a heavy listing team. Like Paul and I were here Saturday in our office all day, and I spent hours on the computer making sure all of our unrestricted and commercial listings were on every commercial site, edited. It was like, but if I don't, then who? It's our job to get these listings sold for the seller. So they have to be critiqued often and changed so that they're looking fresh for their eyes out there. Like, Amy, doesn't that blow your mind sometimes with behind the scenes stuff that we do?
Well, it does, because yesterday I actually, we were going to go to church and I got this message from a client at 7 a.m. He was in town just for the day from Mexico. And he's like, I want to see this property at 9:30 a.m. And I'm like, okay, we'll do a little pivot. So we pivoted, went and met with him. And my 9:30 turned into I worked until 9 p.m. last night. So I ended up working for 12 hours on a Sunday, which is something I typically don't do. It's usually a very, faith and family day for me. But I ended up working a 12-hour day. And what's funny is yesterday I didn't take any really content. I was so focused on the live action grit of real estate. But the neat thing about it is, by listening and really listening to the clues of the buyer, he brought a friend along and the friend goes, I actually own 24 acres by Lake Conroe, and I'm putting together this new development and I'm looking for builders. And I said, you're kidding me. My son's a builder. And so it's funny because sometimes I think realtors, they just have to go the extra mile and sometimes close this, completely open this, listen for clues. And that's my micro market, that right below Lake Conroe, Montgomery. So he was speaking my language and I was like, wow. And I go, I'm actually building in High Meadow West. And he goes, really? That's only about 10 miles away from my division. And so I looked it up and I thought, wow. And he's like, I would love to invite you. And now instead of investing in this janky old house, his friend goes, I want to buy the land and I want your son to be the builder. And I was like, this is incredible. But it's funny how sometimes it's the work, right?
Yeah.
It's showing up, it's doing the work, it's listening for clues, it's problem solving, putting all of that into massive action. And success breeds success.
Mm-hmm.
Action breeds action, right? The more you show up, the more things are going to happen. And I think the biggest disservice right now is so many agents have been complacent, lazy, and made excuses. And we're in, lazy zone part 2, like, oh, it was the market. They have all these ridiculous excuses. And I'm sorry, I didn't have any moment last year where I wasn't selling things.
Mhm.
So it doesn't matter what the market is in my mind. It's all about what you do in whatever market you're in. And you have to pivot and you have to adjust. And when interest rates go down, buyers are going to flood the market. So you better meet with your lender. Like today, I will have a call with a lender and say, what can you share with me? What has changed? What updates can I give my buyers? Because we have an entire list of buyers on our board.
Yeah.
And what's exciting is my listings now, they're almost all yellow.
That's a great thing.
I know. So I really feel like the market up here in North Houston, I don't know how it is down where you're at, Tricia, but up here, man, we're rocking and rolling.
Mhm.
We're not there yet. We would love to be there. New listings, some are selling. It's a crazy
It's in the
market.
pockets. It's in the pockets.
It is.
You know what's funny though is I had a listing that's been on the market for 4 months, and they were like, "We should price drop again." I said, "Actually, you're not priced wrong. I want you just to pause and be patient because you're on the lake, and you see it's not lake season. In January wasn't lake season.
No.
Well, guess what? Now we're under contract. We're closing in 3 weeks because we waited. Because if you have a pool or a lake, your season is now."
Yeah.
The sun's out this weekend. It'll be 80 degrees. People are hunting for pools and waterfront properties. It's
Perfect
goes.
example right there. So do you think y'all deal with me all the time? Y'all hear me talk about AI. Do you think that AI, if I were a real estate agent that did not train my AI and I went to AI and that seller said that, Amy, I think we should do a price reduction. And then I went to my chat, or Amy went to her chat GPT and said, what should we do? Do you think chat GPT is going to say, pause, we're not in Lakeview selling season, let's give it a month or two?
No, it's probably going to say price drop. You've been on the market too long.
Until you drop 2,000 or 5,000, it's going to tell you to do that, and then you're going to mislead your seller.
And I would never drop anything by 2,000, by the way.
I'm telling you.
I would price drop to another bracket because it's psychology. When you're price dropping, it's all about mindset and psychology. And right now, the sellers, there's a lot of strategy, which, I mean, Tricia's the pro at this, but with my sellers, I'm just looking at, we do have more buyers coming in the market, and let's look at the reason. If your house has been sitting, why? Well, your reason why is because you're on a lake. Your reason why is because you have a pool. Pool season is coming. I always tell people, if you have a pool, try to strategize. So I did this strategy with my client, and we're under contract. 40 Northwood, you can look at it. Went under contract where we multiple offers in 3 days. The reason why they wanted to put it on the market in December, and I told them, I said, if it were me, I would wait until February, because February people start thinking about pools. And so they did. They played the slow play. They waited, and then within 3 days, we had multiple offers. And now we close. I'm closing on their lake house and their pool house because the timing was right.
Right. So let's hypothetically say that, Amy, you went, and this is training your AI, right? Let's just hypothetically say that you went into your artificial intelligence, and then you asked it, you knew the answer to it, but you asked it, what would you recommend that we do on this seller's house on 123 Lake Street View? And then it'll tell you what it thinks you should do. And then you say, well, actually, this is not lake house selling season. Right now, the current buyers are not interested in that. When the weather changes, the buyers will be more interested in that. Now, what you just, and your AI is going to say that absolutely makes sense. I didn't know that. I didn't have that in my resources. Now, what you're doing is you're training your machine learning for next year. Like next year, when you come around this time, it's going to give you an entire marketing campaign at your fingertips, and you can put it on autopilot because you trained it. The factory AI is not y'all. It doesn't have your experience. It doesn't have your skills. But if you train it, you'll see in the future how much of your time you can absolutely get back because you trained it. So,
yay.
I think this, like the end of February, this was just crazy, is this weekend coming up. Normally, and we're going to have good weather coming up. Normally, we're starting, like in the north, you guys are already feeling the season. There's some pockets that are not feeling the season yet. March is next week. By the time we come back on our next episode, it'll be March, which is crazy. the real estate market can change in an instant, and there's so much craziness in our world outside. And I said it in our community this morning. I was like, we can't control this outside stuff that's going on in the world. But what we can do is we can control our actions and our activities that we should be doing every single day. And we should be working everything that we can possibly touch right now. Every person, every home seller, potential home buyer, everything, because it's the season and this is what we do for a living. Period. That's it.
Yeah,
We just have to get out and work.
Mm-hmm. You would, what's my saying? You'll miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So if y'all are, what is it called? You're overanalyzing or overthinking stuff, and you're not getting out there and doing what you need to do or following the right people, it's not going to be great for you. So you got to get up and go.
No, I love it. Amy, we'll end early because we've got to get on another call. For agents right now. Because again, and we do Power Agent Playbook, which is training. It's a workshop. And we're doing them back to back this year. So last week we were on the road to Austin, did one in Austin. And the day before that, we were in the Woodlands. Our next one is in April. So we'll skip March because we have a boot camp in March that we'll tell you guys about on Monday. Overwhelmingly, Amy, your thought right now, just being around as many agents that we've been around and talking to them and hearing the questions that they're asking, what do you think agents should be focusing on right now at this time of the market?
Honestly, I think that agents should be focusing on micro markets. I really do. I really think that you need to know, and your micro market needs to be in the vicinity of where you live, because you need to be the neighbor. It needs to be your bank, your local eateries, where you know and where you stay and play and where you know and grow. I mean, honestly, if you don't know where you live and what's around you, how can you expect other people to think you're the expert, right? So when I say hello from the Woodlands, I'm having lunch in the Woodlands, people know me as Amy from the Woodlands, right?
Yep.
And I'm expanding my market now to Magnolia, Montgomery, because I have investments up there. I'm building, and I see that micro market is a growth market. Mm-hmm. So I think that a strategy for agents would be pick a zone and door knock it, farm it, get to know everybody there, let them know that you are the person that knows this market. Mm-hmm. So that's called focus with clarity, and then massive action
equals massive results.
Exactly. No, it's true. It's true. And that's, it's funny is I was talking with one of my clients yesterday, and I'll just wrap it up with this little quick story. But he goes, Amy, and when I was 19, I was homeless. And it shocked me because this man just sold a car dealership for quite a bit of money. And I said, what do you mean you were homeless? And he goes, no, I was living in my truck and I was going to work at a car dealership. And this leads to real estate, by the way. So, and I said, okay. And he goes, and I told them, I'll do anything to make enough money where I can get a place to live. And they said, you know what, prove it to us. And so he goes, you know what, I would go in the bathroom and wash it in my arms, and I would show up every day. And he goes, I started outworking everybody. And then all of a sudden that month I sold, I was selling multiple vehicles a week. And all of a sudden, because I took massive action, I ended up with a bank account of over $10,000. And that 1 month changed the entire trajectory of my life. I was homeless. I started buying suits. The more I bought suits, the more. And then he goes, and by the time I was 25, I was running the car dealership. And he goes, you see, I didn't know the most. I wasn't the smartest guy in the room, but I was surrounding myself with people that elevated me, and I took massive action. So we can put the same thing into play for real estate. I don't know the most about every deal. I don't know the most, honestly, about commercial. If you were to ask me, do I do commercial? Absolutely. Do I know the most about it? No. But will I take massive action? Heck yeah, I will. I'll show up. I'll learn. I'll teach myself. I'll watch YouTube. I'll call Tricia Turner. I'll say, Paul, help me with AI. Like, I will take all the action to create a positive outcome. Mm-hmm. So that's the difference between the three of us and the people that are that 71%. You just got to take action.
Yep. I'll say on that, with agents, stop stop half-assing things. Like go all in. Like one of an agent that we know, we're big open house believers. We believe in door knocking. We believe in delivering something of value with your door knocking. And this agent door knocked and did everything right, except for the thing of value. I said, did you put this thing of value that we use in the clear envelope? And she said, no. And I said, why would you not? Like that's like the last step. Number one, it looks nice. It's presentable. If you do leave it at the door, it's not going to get weathered. It's not going to get rain on. It's not going to blow away. It's polished. It's that your final thing. And she was like, I'll do it next time. It's a missed opportunity. Like, why would you not? It's like wrapping a present and not putting a bow on. It's like, and if the bow's sitting right there, but like, I'm not going to take that next step because it would make it look nicer if I did it. But it's half-assing. Like it's doing just enough to get the job done.
It separates you from, like, if you literally just dropped off a business card and a lollipop, it's like, oh, okay, they're friendly, they're a nice person. But if you drop off that thing of value that you're talking about in that clear envelope, it's not, oh, this is a lollipop and business card lady. This is a analytical real estate agent or broker that knows what they're talking about. That's going to provide value. So that is a real call to action. So you basically just went and wasted your time.
I think, and I say it all the time when I get in some of these rants and some of these heated debates on social media, because I'm known to do a little bit of that. I say always, we have to do better. We as an industry have to do better.
We'll do better.
We will. Yeah. We're training as many people as we possibly can so that you're not part of that group that doesn't sell homes, and you can graduate from the lunch bunch and come hang out with us and do great things.
We provide lunch too, but we provide true value.
Final thoughts today, Amy, before we depart.
3 words: focus, clarity, execution.
Love it. Paul, final thoughts.
Pay attention to who you're paying attention to.
Do the work, you guys. And if you're not part of our Rise and Thrive community, you can always tune in to us every morning. It's for our people in our network, but it's for anyone really in the real estate world too. We'll happily discuss things with you. Isn't it? Where do they go, Paul? JoinRiseandThrive.com.
It's in the comments. And Roy Burns, you're hilarious. You got a great memory, by the way.
Y'all have an awesome day. Go sell lots of homes. Look at Mortgage News Daily. Interest rates are great. Y'all get out there and make it happen. We'll see y'all next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Peace out.